Moonlighter 2 changes almost everything. The dungeons, the combat, and of course, most importantly, the shop. As a diehard fan of the original, I was honestly a little terrified what Moonlighter 2 would bring. But about 10 minutes in, I was upcharging customers so hard I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need legal representation. Either way, does Moonlighter 2 actually capture what made Moonlighter so special, or is it something completely different altogether? First things first, for those of you new here, let's talk about what Moonlighter is. Going over Moonlighter 2, it brings back the core gameplay loop of the original, where you go into a dungeon, explore, loot the crap out of everything, and then sell it in your shop, using the money and proceeds to upgrade your gear and equipment. But almost everything has had a complete revamp. I know for me, my biggest concern was in the demo, they completely changed how the shop was made, but they brought back a lot of the original intent, which made me very happy. Also, instead of the progression exploration of going through these different portals, you just have one main portal, which felt a little weird. And one of the other big things is your equipment no longer is progressive and more is archetypal and give passive effects rather than raw stats. But going over what really changed and the overview of what the game is, let's talk about the actual combat and the actual flow of the game. The combat is a huge step up for Moonlighter 1. Moonlighter 1 was kind of notorious for its kind of janky cardinal direction combat. It wasn't as intuitive, but honestly, I still enjoyed it quite a bit. It just took a lot more getting used to. But Moonlighter 2 completely changes it. Now being able to handle your attacks more properly, you can really dig in and dish out some damage. Though I do miss a little bit of the versatility of being able to switch between two different weapons. I know you're usually only going to bring a melee weapon and then the bow, but like, the option was still fun. As far as difficulty in combat is concerned, it's really not that bad. But my biggest complaint is that the iframes are very misleading. You see, when you dash, rather than having startup frames, you have ending frames instead. So it feels a little weird, but you can get used to it. Going from the general combat, let's talk about the dungeons itself. The dungeons was also a little bit of a mixed bag. They took away a lot of the exploration and the floor-based design for a more map-based design. Think of Slay the Spire, that kind of thing, which is definitely a large shift. And because of this, we have less hidden rooms around, but we do get a lot more different room archetypes, such as perk rooms and mystery rooms. Honestly, it definitely gives a little bit more of a roguelike feel compared to the original. I kind of like it. Likewise, you won't be finding the lore room like in Moonlighter 1, which is fine. Moving on to what I love the most, the actual looting and inventory management. A big part of Moonlighter 1 was managing your inventory with these various curses that affected the relics. Balance your inventory to get the most value of everything you had. Well, we took out the ability to take stuff home and added the ability to modify the price and quality of items based off what happens. And this is really cool because based off of the area you're in, each has a different gimmick of their curses, which can raise or lower the value of your items. Super cool, 100% captures the original intent, and honestly, in my opinion, improves it 100-fold. But once we have those items, we're gonna have to sell them, of course. Like I said, you'll improve the quality, which will allow you to have a higher sell price, which is amazing, because once we get to sell it, it's just like good old Moonlighter. You go in, you don't know what the price is, you start by cranking the price up so goddamn high, you're gonna commit some kind of crime. Go talk to my lawyers. Don't worry about the prices. It's fine. Compared to the demo, which is a huge relief, but with the shop, we also have stuff like our decor that increases various buffs, and now we have shop-specific tree as well as perks that you can get throughout the shop for selling at lower or perfect prices, which I think is really cool to actually reward taking a little bit of a loss, but it actually gives you so much more money in the long run. It is more interactive than the original Moonlighter shop, but not in the wrong ways where it was in the demo. Going from the actual gameplay loop, the core of the game, let's move on to visuals. And the visuals, it's a gorgeous 3D style. I really love where they took the visuals. It might not be pixel art anymore, but still captures the exact vibe of Moonlighter. I know my favorite design so far was the gallery area. You'll find that out soon, but oh, super cool. Let's go to a bit more disappointing point. Music. And The music's fine. Honestly, some of them are really good. The gallery music does go hard. Some of the music in the first area is a choice, especially the boss theme. Not really my cup of tea, but I think the biggest thing is, in Moonlighter 1, one of the most beautiful parts of it and what really brought the game together was this leitmotif. We'll just say leitmotif. It's this motif, or whatever the word in the music world is, that connected the main theme to each of the different boss themes and really made this cohesive soundtrack that just hit different. Moonlighter 2 doesn't have that. It might just be very subtle in the boss music, but I swear to God, it's not there, and it makes me very, very sad. I literally slumped in my desk. I was like, man, I don't want to do this no more. I mean, the game's still good, so I digress. And of course, let's talk about progression and replayability. Moonlighter is always gonna be less replayable than your average roguelike, because it's a mix of RPG and roguelike. So you have your runs that are within the game, but there's not the same build versatility and craziness that you can do with games such as like The Binding of Isaac, or Hades, or hell, Ball X Pit, since I just made a video on it. It won't have that same versatility, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means its priorities are different. Like I said before, it still does feel more roguelike than Moonlighter 1, just because of how the perk system and how you actually buff yourself within the run rather than doing out of dungeon progression. Speaking of progression, you should progress this video by, liking it. Anyways, let's talk about the verdict and who this game really is for. Well, I just gotta say, if you liked Moonlighter 1, you're probably gonna like Moonlighter 2. The vibes are a little different, but it has the soul of the game, just with a whole new body. Honestly, for anyone who likes to have their secondary game along with doing their runs, a game that reminds me of this is Dave the Diver, and people who like a good action roguelike or RPG with secondary management gameplay, Reciteer. For anyone that's not in the categories I mentioned, you probably might want to look twice if you're more of a traditional roguelike purist, or you're not one for actual action RPGs. Also, if you want your goddamn controller to work, because goddamn it, I tried for like 20 minutes to get my controller to work, it just didn't work. I'm assuming they'll patch that really soon, but playing this game on mouse and keyboard's rough. But either way, Moonlighter is different, but I still feel like it's a worthy sequel to Moonlighter 1, and I hope to see its expansion throughout early access. But speaking of which, if you want to know another fun game that has a secondary management style, check out this video on Cuisineer, the cooking roguelike. I think you'll enjoy it a lot. Thank you so much for watching.